Welcome to Bachman Builds. Last video I had an unboxing, just a basic unboxing with this new Lowrance Eagle Eye. I presented in there some of my past shuttle designs, basic designs. One was a cooler, one was with a case, a small Harbor Freight case, kind of like a Pelican case, kind of pretty much a knockoff that I used for my Hummingbird Helix 5. Today I'm going to be doing the large version for the Eagle Eye. Using this case, it comes in this desert color, it comes in black, it comes in orange. At the time they had these on sale and this is the only one available left. I don't mind the color, looks fine. Black would match probably a bit better, but it's what I have. First step I did is peeled off the stickers, which are a pain in the butt sometimes. They like to rip. One little trick that I've used over the past, some of you guys probably already know, but just applying heat gun, be careful with the heat, applying lightly, and you can peel it off really good. I got all the sides cleaned off, but there's residue left, which I will clear off with Goof Off. This is Pro Strength. Any of those will work. Get that sticky residue off. In this video, I have the build. It's going to be kind of on the fly. I'm going to go through kind of a process that I normally would do. You kind of got to think of everything with this box so you don't have any interference with your outlets that you're going to put in. Your wires coming in and out. When you open the case, you want any torquing of the wires. You can have shorts and stuff like that. So you don't want to have that. But in here, I picked up a least inexpensive lithium 15 amp hour battery. This one, actually at the time, they were moved up in price. But at the time, this was like 36 bucks. This case, I should be able to fit 2 of these in there inside. I'm going to set up for that because I'm going to have extra power for lights. I have these these are actually automotive running lights. I've used these in the past with my other builds. This is exactly the one I used on my last one. I'm going to use a little one here. It has adhesive back. Got these this time because they got screw holes and they're like rubber and you can kind of flex them. And they got adhesive backs too. All this stuff is very inexpensive, and I'm going to put links to all this in the bottom in the description area so you can get an idea. You can find all kinds of cool stuff. Most of the stuff comes from Amazon, but I like to have extra lighting, and I'm going to have all this. I'm going to have all these hooked to different switches here. These are lighted waterproof switches. I'm not sure of the orientation I'm going to have this time with this build. I got several of those. I got this whole kit. Comes with a template plate where you can put in, this is just a 12 volt outlet, and then this one is the USB 3.0, 2 of them with the on-off switch, which is really nice. Now, you can get all kinds of these, but this was a special deal. This whole thing was only under, it was like 9 something for this and all the wires. Where just getting this was 10 bucks to $15, depending on which one you get. Some have voltage meters on it, and I touched on this last time. The voltage meters are helpful a little bit, but lithium batteries have a tendency to, or the way they're designed is to have to keep peak voltage to the end, and then the BMS battery management system will cut it off to protect the batteries. So you'll see a sudden drop, and that'll be it. So let's see next. I picked up fusible links here, the kit, a bunch of these and a bunch of that. I'm not sure the price. It was cheap. Everything just inexpensive, but they're built really well. They got a waterproof cap. I'm going to run one for my unit, 5 amp fuse for that. That's what's rated for. And then I'm going to run a 5 amp for the all the lights. Let's see what else. This is 12 volt, sealed 12 volt in out. Comes like this. I'm going to snip this end off. You can use this for an accessory, but this will be wired in somewhere in here. My last one, I put it through the side. But this, I have a lithium charger that I already have that you can just plug in, leave this all encased. You just plug it in, you can charge it. And as I touched on last time, I'm not running a diode on this or anything, so 12 volt will come out here. So you could take this accessory end, if you had something that runs on 12 volts, you could just plug it in if you wanted. And this is a whole battery pack. Like I say, I'm going to try to put 2 in here, set it up so I can have 2. Let's see what else. This amazing goop, or E6000 is another one I've used. Silicone works, but this is kind of a rubbery glue. I like using this a lot in my marine stuff, waterproof stuff. Anywhere I have any ports in and out, when I mount these through, I put a bead of this like silicone you would, but it's a lot harder. And it'll come off if you have to replace one of these. It's not like it's on there forever. So this stuff's really good for sealing. Let's see here. These are waterproof plugs. Really nice. I came across these ones. I think these ones are actually for solar panel systems. I got an O-ring and everything. Nice ring that screws on. They're pretty heavy duty, but when you're in the harsh environments, ice fishing or just fishing in general, stuff happens. This cable is really nice. In my past, when I just ran one, I ran a couple of these through, which I'll probably do the same thing. I'm just going to cut off the unit. A lot of times I'll run the unit one for the head unit to one of these. But I do it for the lights a lot of times because they can go bad. I haven't had any go bad, but they can go bad, and then you can just swap it out real easy by changing, unplugging this and taking them off. On here, I put on these rubber grommets, so when I go through the case, added protection, wear, and I'll use that sealant even sometimes. Let's see here. I'll go into detail as I'm doing some of this. This is some adhesive foam that I got. I got a whole pile of this stuff years ago. These are just cut off pieces from a store down in actually Ann Arbor, Michigan area. I used to live down in downstate Michigan area, and there's a store that has stuff like this from companies that they donate, and then the company sells this stuff off, and they make a little money. And stuff's cheap, but it's adhesive foam, and it's a good isolator. There's these ribs on here, so when I clamp through, I'm gonna just put that underneath, just an extra thing. So that's kind of the basic pieces. The next step I'm going to go through is basically I'm going to figure out the orientation of the battery, where it needs to be. And then with that, then I can see where I'm going to be putting my, I'm probably just going to use the USB, probably somewhere in there, I'm guessing. But I got to make sure the battery doesn't interfere with when the lid goes down hitting this. So it's all stuff you got to kind of think of. Same thing with this. Comes through, sticks through, but it's a very small area, but it can interfere with where your batteries are. And I want to set it up for 2. I have the one here right now, but I'll mirror it to fit in there. So that's the parts for now. And I'll be back, and I'll just start figuring orientation, and you can kind of see as I go. And I'm not going to bore you with all that. I'll just kind of fast forward through it, showing you some key points here and there. All right, here we are back again. I took out the foam on the inside. There's one thin piece, it's about 1 inch thick on the bottom, and it just happens to work out that 2 batteries fit in here perfectly, the width-wise like this. Now, you could put 4 in here depending on your, I mean, it's a lot of battery life, but if you're like ice camping and want to use this for multiple things, like near your shack and stuff, you could have a separate bank just isolated from the unit, the head unit, where you have all the power that you need. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to stay in here yet, but these are the 2 pieces that I pulled out. They come with these perforations so you can fit it in here. Like if you have a custom thing you want to put in your, like a pistol or something, you know, or some kind of instrument, they got nice perforations, you can break it down. So I'm going to fit this in here so these got pressure against this way, but when you clamp this down with this foam on here, it's solid. It's not moving. So that's like actually perfect. It's isolating. The only thing I might do in this back area is on the sides, this foam, adhesive foam stuff I have, I'll probably wrap it just to help isolate a little bit more, but just from the cold. That'll help get a little separation in the cold. Originally, I was going to try to do these like this, but that's going to interfere probably with my switches that come down. So I'm going to put, I think, here, and that by putting these together like this, I'll have all the room for switches and stuff up front, and I'm going to set my head unit back a little bit further. So that's where we're at with that. I think that's going to work out nice. So I'm going to cut these pieces and fit them in there, and we're going to go to the next step and seeing where USB is going to be and all my switches, where I'm going to put all these, which I'm guessing up front. Okay, so back at it here. I got this piece cut to fit in. Got the nice perforations, like I said, and then the end I just cut with a pair of scissors. This piece is like this. Cut those ends, and then just perforated along the side of the table, and just kind of ripped right off nicely. And then this fits right in here perfectly. Now I have this whole other section. I can do that, put it up here, but this is plenty. And it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's locked in there. I did add a couple pieces of isolation, this foam, sticky foam here, to go in here. Imagine you can find this on Amazon, something like it. But matter of fact, I do custom embroidery. I've been doing it my whole life. That's what these machines are in the background. Lions hat, go Lions. This is puff foam for doing foam 3D embroidery. But the same type stuff's in your craft stores like Michael's. Any craft store is going to have a craft foam for building projects. And you can get different thicknesses of that. It's the same stuff. It's almost identical to what this is. Just this has an adhesive on it. And you can just put your own adhesive on there. Or just leave it floating if you want. But inexpensive. These things are really cheap. Like a sheet like these right here. You get a pack of these for hardly anything. You can get different colors too. So now I'm at this point. I left this cavity open for the bottom of these coming through, so I can run my wires through and have a channel for that. So what I'm going to do next, I believe I'm going to do next is I'm going to mount the head unit on here next. The bracket, the gimbal bracket on here. And I'm leaving this all permanent on this unit because in the past I made it where I could take the head unit off easy, put on different, like some of my little boats and stuff like that. Well, this is going to be a self-contained unit. I'm going to put it in my little boats, my big boats, all that. So it's got its own power source. I can take it on a trip. And everything's self-contained and isolated. I'm using the battery in the boat, not using, or if I don't have a battery in my boat, my little Starcraft type boat, deep V, just going basic, going light, you can just take this and use it. So next step, I'm going to mount this on this gimbal unit on. It I'll be using yeah. So that's how you take that off. Anyways, probably be mounted back in this range. I like using any of my marine stuff. I like using stainless hardware. You can use whatever you want, but stainless will prevent rusting as long as it's a good quality stainless. I'm going to bolt this through. I'm going to trace my holes where I want it. I'm going to drill it, and I'm going to have the bolts come upwards. And I'll show you that in detail. The reason for that is so the heads are down underneath here flush, and you don't get any contact on your terminals. That way you don't get any shorts or excessive wear on the plastic or anything like that. It is up high. I'm going to keep this foam in here, but if you have bolts sticking through, and not good. Okay, next I got the gimbal bracket. Just where I'm going to put it. Put to the back section here, and I can line it up just right. There's these grid pattern, makes it nice. You can line it. You don't need to measure. It's not that exact. These, it's the first time using these, but you see these are long reach, thin tipped markers for laying out. They're definitely nice for this kind of situation. I'm just gonna trace my holes. They're elongated holes for this bracket, so you got leeway. So mark those. And I pulled out the batteries. I'm going to pull out the rest of this foam right now because there's going to be shavings. All right, here we are with the mounting of the gimbal bracket. I'm just lining up off this grid pattern. It's on these. It's nice. You don't really have to measure it. Just get it where you want it. And then I got these, which I call big thumb long NIB markers. Got the metal with the tip, so you can get right in there and marker these out really nicely. Like that. Move that to the side. I have my marks on the edge of this rib here. Perfect there. These are 10, I believe 1032 or 1024, excuse me, 1024 stainless panhead Phillips head. I have a I think 3/4 inch or 1 inch fender washer. This is going to come up from underneath. That's going to give it more stability for the plastic, so it's not pulling on that little head. So like I said, I'm going to come through with these, and they're going to stick through all the way through here, and I'm going to bolt it down. That way there's no interference with the tops touching any manner of the terminals or rubbing on the plastic. All right, so now I'm just going to drill these out. This is an oversized bit to get a little leeway of movement. Stuff that cuts really easy, so just go slow. Okay. 1. 2. 3. 4. There. Then I'll be able to bolt through. I am going to put a pad here like this on each one of these. I'm going to cut them down so they fit this underneath inside. That'll give it a little isolation. I am going to put some silicone on this too, or the goop glue, to give extra, just in case water or ice gets in there and melts and wants to feed down, so the batteries will be there. They are sealed, but anytime you can keep moisture away from electronics, you're better off. So I'm going to cut these, put these in place, bolt this together, and I'll be back. Okay, now holes are drilled through. Put the foam adhesive in here. Drill these through real quick off camera. Another just a quick thing. I'll tell you what. It's a Black & Decker 16-volt lithium, little vacuum. I use it in my embroidery shop because I got threads everywhere. It's nice. This thing works amazing, sucking up threads, but cleaning up around the area real quick. Battery lasts a long time. I don't know if they make this model anymore because I got it a couple years ago. But these things are great for cleaning up real quick, keeping the mess down to a minimum. All right, next step. I'm gonna put the goop. I'm gonna shoot some of this stuff right in each hole. It's just added protection. I'm not taking this thing apart. Okay. I mean, you would be able to. Stuff isn't that strong. Stick these through the washer. Phillips head sticking this way. Like that. Now, get a shop rag here. This isn't my normal workspace. This is my embroidery shop. Just little projects like this. I like using this table. It's handy. I'm going to clean off the tips on these. I have lock washers and nuts that go on here, and regular washers. This glue will act kind of like a lock type thing too. So flip this down temporarily. Make sure you put this Lowrance part to the back. That's where you can feed your stuff in. I am gonna drill right now the power. Where's the power cable here, and I'm gonna switch out to a smaller bit. This one here. It's gonna get close to the same size. It's perfect. And I'm gonna drill a hole. So this is hidden underneath the gimbal bracket. So these will sit here. So I'm just going to put it right in here. This will get stuff down in. I have a piece of shrink tubing here, but also I have one of these grommets I'm not going to use for this. I use it for the bigger stuff, but with the little grommets, you could use that if you wanted. But I'm making this more of a permanent thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, so this is a marine shrink tubing. It's just extra shielding. It already has shielding on it, but I'm going to push this in through. All the way in. And just feed this through. And then I'm going to use my heat gun and shrink this down, just to give it more security. Then I'll put a little dab of the glue on there. The unit, you just want to make sure you have enough out here when you place this. So the gimbal is going to be like that. I'm just going to have a little extra. This is the bottom one. So make sure you got I've got enough clearance. So I'm going to do it right about there. Like that. Let's pull down in. Now this hole is on the small side. After putting this on here, that's fine. I'm just going to hollow it out a little bit. Go to a bigger drill bit, but I just need to fit it in there slightly because I am going to glue it. Pull it through. That's a nice tight fit there. So I'm going to go half in, half out, or a little bit more out. Okay, now what I like to do too here is, I'm going to grab it, but zip ties are handy. If I can find one. Actually, I'm going to put a, I don't know if I have any out here, but put a zip tie on the back side. That keeps the cord from getting ripped out. They make things for that. The zip tie works well. Okay. So back to this. I found a zip tie. I'm just going to wrap this around, put it in place, cinch it down on that shrink tubing. Pull it tight. Just going to cut this excess off. Okay. I just pulled it through some, and I'm going to put some adhesive on both sides. Stuff's a little runny, but it sets up pretty quick. It's a lot like silicone, like a heavy-duty silicone. That. I'm just going to pull this up, rotate a little bit, pulling up, rotating, so it sets in. It's on the inside here, and put some out here. Gob it up usually too, because they got here get a little more surface area to bond to, and it helps with the flexing too with the cord. So it's already setting up. Yep, so that's where that. I'm going to keep working on, I'll put this on the unit for the gimbal on the case. Okay, now putting the washer on. Allen lock washer, and then the bolt or nut. Jeez, can't talk today. Okay, that's started. It's not the right size. I'm going to get the rest of these on and get the right size for the nut there. finish getting these started. I like to use the Nilots. Usually, I gotta get more of them out of them. But these will work perfectly fine. Started. I'm not going to bore you with this, but to speed through this. Okay, so put the head unit on. This is the gimbal's bolted down. Inside, nothing fancy, but there's the zip tie glue. These are all kind of just glued in place to seal. This is here. The foam piece, I'll cut a hole for this to go through. So and then this E600 or Goop, E6000 or Goop, either one of them. This stuff you could put a little dab on here if you wanted, and then that foam will be glued in if you wanted it to. This stuff works good for that too. So that's how this is. So it goes down, snaps in place. This is all in here. It's all sealed. Any water gets in there, it's sealed up. The bolts are all sealed up with the rubber and glue. So now that's set. But now work on my switches, positioning, and my USB ports, my charging port or accessory port. Figure out where I'm going to put all that. I'm going to get the head unit off so I don't damage it while I'm flinging things around. I don't want to mess that up. I'm going to get the batteries in, the foam in here, everything back kind of in place, and then we can see our arrangement for all the wiring. The wiring is going to be next. I want to do that first, get it out of the way. And then one thing I'm still kicking around contemplating is I want a big handle for this, and I'm debating how I'm going to build that. Picked up some aluminum strap. I thought about trying to mount some strapping, aluminum strapping coming around, bolting it in. PVC is nice, which I think that's the where I'm going to go. Got some pieces of PVC, and I got some fittings. I'm thinking about, I haven't done it, but I've seen people do it, so it'll be a first. I'm going to heat this with the heat gun, clamp it down, flatten part of it, and put a bend in it. And I might bend it or just taper it a little bit, form it to the box. I'm not sure, but that'll be bolted in place, and I'm thinking kind of coming up like this. And I'm going to tee out with some hooks for the cable for the active transducer, and then have a mount on top for the pole that I'm going to make in a future video. The directional pole, what I have in mind for that, I already got it in. It's going to work pretty good. Some modifications, and I'll show you. That'll be another video. But get back into the wiring and location of switches and all that.